Before opening, a brindle Boston Terrier pushed the gray door wedge away from the door and toward one silver threshold strip while the worker reached down. The worker slid it back under the glass door, sure the little dog was making the morning setup harder than it needed to be that morning. A passing neighbor noticed too, and the simple answer felt obvious. The dog kept bothering a doorstop at the dry cleaner entrance beside the sidewalk too. But when the worker reset it more carefully, the terrier moved it to the same metal strip and sat there without playing or fussing at all. From that low angle, the wedge looked less like a toy and more like a small arrow toward the raised edge near the threshold there. So the worker tested the normal spot, pressing the wedge under the door and waiting to see if the dog cared about the door at all. The dog ignored the wedge off to the side, but stood again when it returned to the path toward the threshold near the entrance once more. When the worker reset it again, the dog moved it back to the same strip, and this time, the endpoint looked too exact to brush aside during opening today. The worker still trusted the simple answer. The wedge belonged under the door, and dogs make odd little habits around busy entrances like this every morning. The door held fine. The wedge worked fine. The dog moved it anyway, right back toward the same silver edge on the entry floor again. One thing did not fit. The dog watched the threshold strip, not the door, not the wedge, and not the worker standing there on the floor. So the worker stopped fixing the doorstop and checked the metal strip itself, pressing the top edge while the dog watched the underside closely instead of the wedge itself. Then he tried a different black doorstop. The dog ignored the old gray wedge and moved the new one to the same exact strip with the very same calm push. That changed the question. The wedge was not special anymore. The exact place on the threshold was now clearly becoming the point of the whole pattern. The worker placed the gray wedge there as a marker, and the dog stayed still nearby quietly, as if that position was enough for now. Only one part of the strip flexed. A normal cleaning wipe almost crossed the marker, so the worker stopped and kept that line clear instead of wiping past. From wedge level, the lifted lip looked different. From the side, it looked ordinary, which explained why he had missed it earlier from the floor too. He checked behind the door first, then the top of the strip. Both were empty. The dog nudged the wedge lower again toward that underside edge. The first placement now read differently. Gray wedge, floor line, lifted threshold lip. That same entry edge clue had been visible from the start when the worker crouched low beside it. The worker put the wedge back under the door, lifted the loose metal lip with his fingers, and found a small red collar charm tucked underneath. He pressed the strip flat with the charm in his hand. The dog stepped near the wedge, paused, and chose to sit quietly by itself there. In the same doorway, the wedge stayed under the open door, the silver strip lay flat, and the terrier walked past without moving it as the worker watched near the door.